And now, it's 20 minutes of silence. Well, not literally. It's the Kirk Minihane Show, entitled 20 Minutes of Silence, here on WEI.com.
And this is the Kirk Minihane Podcast, 20 Minutes of Silence, as we call it here on WEI. My guest this week is John Parr. You know him from 1985's number one single, St. Elmo's Fire, from the film. And now, 27 years later, he has redone it again and put Tim Tebow in the mix. Tim Tebow's Fire. Been all over the country this week with the Patriots, Broncos. Kind of big story here. Tim Tebow and John Parr joins us. John, how are you?
I'm very well, Kirk, and you?
Good, great. Thank you very much. First, we'll get to the Tebow thing in a second. Talk to first, 1985, St. Elmo's Fire, the number one single. That was not originally written for the film, correct?
No, basically, I was contracted to write the song for the film with David Foster, but I was really struggling with the lyric. And David showed me a little video clip of a young guy called Rick Hansen that was recently disabled, and he was going to try and wheel around the world in a wheelchair to raise money. And that was called the Man in Motion tour. I was so inspired by that story that I wrote the lyrics so it made it seem like it was for the movie, but it was entirely for Rick. I guess the rest is history. We've now raised $250 million for spinal research.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when you think now about that song, the video for that song as well, you were in the video with the cast, right? Do I remember that properly?
But I didn't know who they were. I mean, I'd only been in America about 4 or 5 months and had my head down, and so I had no idea who Demi was or Rob Lowe, which was kind of cool, really, because I might have been a bit overawed as it happened. I just thought they were kids, you know?
Right. And so, what's funny, John, to say you're a one-hit wonder, I don't think is fair when you look at your career. You had a hit before that. I think it was Naughty Naughty, right? It was a top 25, top 20 kind of song in the U.S.
Well, the number one on rock radio. Yeah,
right.
I was on radio for about 6 months.
So, but
I've done a dozen Hollywood movies, 3
right.
of which were global number one.
Right.
Yeah,
so when you look at that, it's funny though when you look at somebody's career and you always get knocked into the one-hit wonder, this and that. But you look at it, you look at Meatloaf, you look at Roger Daltrey, you look at Dire Straits. I mean, you look at this stuff, and is that a tough thing to be labeled with, or is something you just don't care about?
Yeah, it's frustrating, but the other thing, I mean, unfortunately, my career was cut off at the knees. I got involved in a legal battle in the 80s against a former employee that had been doing me down. And the legal battle took nearly 20 years for me to win. I only won in December last year, so I've been unable to work really in a high profile because, as you know, when you're in litigation, nobody wants to know. I finally free in December, so I came straight back to America, the country that gave me a chance all those years ago.
So now we get to 2011, I guess it was, at ESPN. And what caused you to change St. Elmo's Fire to Tim Tebow's Fire? Is it simply, John, a case of Tim Tebow has the same amount of syllables as St. Elmo? It can't be that simple, is it?
Well, all it was a complete freak accident. I knew that they were looking for a Monday Night Football song at ESPN. Mm-hmm. So I went to ESPN to play them my Monday Night Football song. That was the day that Tim signed for the Broncos. And they said, you wouldn't mind going on air and playing St. Elmo's Fire, would you? I had my guitar. And just before they rolled, they said, you couldn't say Tim Tebow's Fire, could you? And I said, sure. And that's what happened. And I went on and just literally changed one line at that point. But then as I looked, I was living in America for this last 6 months, I kind of got into NFL. I mean, funnily enough, my favorites were the Pats. I loved the Pats. The first game I saw was the Pats. But I started looking into what Tim was about, and I love the fact that he's got a foundation, and he's a real kind of man of the people, and I just thought, no, he deserves a better shot. So I actually recorded this long before all this furore. I recorded it probably in October, and it's been lying around, and then Fox just picked it up, and because it's gone crazy, it's like 300,000 hits in a couple of days.
Well, it's blown up. It's gone viral here the last couple of days, and I think
but it looks like I'm cashing in, and I didn't. I just literally did it as just a nice tribute to somebody that I just think it's nice that people, when someone has something they believe in, it turns me on, whether it be religion or whatever. Very few people believe in things these days, and I like and people believe in Tim, and it's great.
Is it so different now as opposed to, say, 85 or 88, to go and do something for a couple minutes and go put it on YouTube, it's going to get 1 million hits as opposed to it was 20 years ago?
Well,
the music business is got to be, from your perspective, incredibly different than it was when you first started.
It's almost like a different business. I've been in America for 7 months. As I say, I came back to do good. I've been working for free. I've been playing American military bases for the last 7 months. And that's all I came to do. I intended to do it in the 80s because military were getting a terrible rap in the 80s. I don't know if you remember.
Sure.
But of course, I intended to do it then, and my career was cut off at the knees. So I'd intended to come back to America. Once I was free, I've been playing for the Marines, for the Air Force, for the Army. So it's been amazing. But to try and build my profile, it's been, I've had... the website, johnparramerica.com, there's no such thing as websites when I was starting out. And, you tend to think that your old songs are dead and buried. And, of course, with YouTube, people discover all your old work. They kind of get your pictures out of the attic,
Well, the days of, when I was growing up was really in the 80s, the days of a Born in the USA or a Purple Rain selling, a Thriller selling 15, 20 million copies. It's gone now. There's nothing to compare it to.
No, nothing at all, and I mean, it's good and bad, I mean, it's, you can get 1 million hits on YouTube for just doing something quirky,
Right,
so
right.
I'm just happy, that this is, it's from the heart, it looks like I'm cashing in, and obviously bad people say bad things, but this is from, anybody wants to look at my record, I've been like I say, I've been working for free for 7 months.
So what does this lead to now for John Parr?
I'm coming out to do, I've written a military album, which is a rock record, but much in the same way you don't think Tebows Fire is a song about a guy in a wheelchair. My military album is a rock record that, unless you really looked into it, you wouldn't know as a military record. So I'm coming out to do that. I'm going to be playing most of the NASCAR events around the country. I'm going to be doing the military stuff and doing the bases near those events. And we're going to give a percentage of the album to the USO, for the rehabilitation of guys and girls coming back and their families. They're doing that. Fingers crossed that I get the Monday Night Football. That would be sweet.
That'd be a pretty good gig. Pretty good. Is there bitterness to have 20 years of your career taken away? Any bitterness?
No, I mean, the blessing was, I thought, well, okay, I could work in the back room. I was a record producer. But, in terms of John Parr, the artist, nobody would sign a contract because of litigation. But the beauty was I had a young family. My sons are now in their 20s, but I never missed a day out of their lives when they grew up. Had I had this mega career that I had, my life would have probably been in the garbage,
Two things. Number one, people talk about Kenny Loggins. You're kind of quietly one of the kings of the soundtrack.
Yeah, I did a dozen movies in 2 years.
Yeah.
And, it's something I loved. Again, when I started doing soundtracks in the 80s, it was just the resurgence of soundtracks again, where with quality music. A lot of soundtracks used to be, if you had the 14th track off your album, you used to just shove it in a film.
Right.
But really, the mid '80s was a golden period, and I was just blessed to be involved in it.
And number two, you got to give me your craziest, give me your road story, give me your Spinal Tap story. What's the John Parr story you tell people? The height of your peak, the nuttiness on the road. Was it 12 women at once? I mean, what do you got?
Well, I suppose the craziest was I did an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. The Running Man. Yeah. And the carrot was, if they liked the song, I got to be in the video with Arnie, which happened. They took the film. But I wrote the song, and I wrote it called The Running Man. So we recorded it, sent it to the film company. They were dubbing the picture the following week, and they came back and said, we don't want you to call it The Running Man, call it something else. So I had to fly back out, change some words to Restless Heart, which killed the song, but... But the funny thing was, that movie was sponsored by Adidas, and all the press shots, the writer, Harold Faltermeyer, and I were wearing our tracksuits, but mine was a Nike. So not only did I have to go out and re-sing the song again, I also had to go out and reshoot the photographs because I had a Nike tracksuit on and nobody noticed.
So the author of St. Elmo's Fire and now Tim Tebow's Fire, you can tell us, you said you're a Patriots fan first. Who are you rooting for this weekend, Tebow or the Patriots? You got to make your pick right. No fence sitting, John.
My hand on my heart, I have to say the Broncos because, and I'll tell you why, because, and it sounds awfully corny, what I'm trying to do, anybody wants to check out on johnparramerica.com what I'm really about, see that I've got integrity, what I'm really trying to achieve. If the Broncos got in the Super Bowl, the light that would throw on what I'm trying to achieve would be immense. On a sports level, I think the best man should win. I always think that. And I know, I mean, I saw my first NFL game this season was the Pats, and I'd never seen anything like it. I remember watching the Dallas Cowboys the next week, and it looked like the little league against the big league. It was amazing. But my life would, what I'm trying to achieve would change. I will either be walking my dog in the woods of Yorkshire on Super Bowl day, or who knows, I might be even playing.
Right. Well, we appreciate
in Indianapolis.
Well, John, thank you very much for this couple minutes. I'm sure you're busy. We appreciate it, and we'll pay attention to those charities. And once again, thanks for your time.
Well, my best to all the fans of the Pats out there, because you've got a great team, and it is New England.
Right. Thank you very much, John.
All the best.